Welcome. This is Anna Thea with the Art of Self-Love and Emotional Empowerment, and I am interviewing Cyrena. Cyrena, I don't even know your last name. Please share your last name.
Giordano.
Giordano, I love it. Anyway, I'm here with Cyrena Giordano. I'm very excited to have you here because what we're going to be talking about is consent as love and setting healthy boundaries. And Cyrena, I had the opportunity to meet her at a workshop that I took where she was teaching about consent, and her website is Consent as Love. And I was like, oh my gosh, people need to be hearing this information. So I really wanted to interview her right away. And here we have finally gotten together and we're able to do that. And we're going to be talking about 3 keys to healthy boundary setting and love as consent. Make sure you check out her website, loveasconsent.com, right, Cyrena?
Consentaslove.com.
Oh, consentaslove.com. Okay, awesome. So what we want to talk about are 3 keys to healthy boundary setting. Cyrena, I'm so excited that you're here with me today. You graduated from Berkeley, and Berkeley is a deep part of, I'm from the East Bay too, and I love Berkeley. Berkeley are people on the cutting edge of evolution. So I'm so excited that you're really teaching this stuff. And one of the things that you're teaching is about sound. So we're going to talk about the three things around consent and healthy boundary setting. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about, is how to communicate. You said that a lot of things that are coming up for people are how to communicate healthy yeses and healthy nos. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what often I get people having questions around is how do I say yes and how do I say no in a way that honors myself, where I feel safe and also has care towards the other person. So I want to acknowledge that in saying yes and no, ideally we're in relationships where we feel safe to say yes and no, no matter what. And our yes just simply as a yes and our no simply as a no is accepted and appreciated and honored. However, often a lot more is involved in saying yes and no to people. And often when people receive a no, it can be really easy to take that personally. So the bigger picture of this is the understanding that humans really love to feel connected. So if you're interested and how to say yes and no to somebody in a way that also honors yourself and that person, kind of catering to that person's potential desire to be connected to you. There are ways to do that that honors their desire for connection with you and still honors your yes or your no. So I'm going to give an example for no. This is something that I've taught that I like to call it's called the something sandwich, the connection sandwich. So it's like the compliment sandwich. You know how when you give a compliment and then you give feedback and then you give a compliment. So instead it's offering a point of connection, saying your true feeling, which is some form of no, and then offering another form of connection. So for example, if someone came up to you, let's say someone was like, hey, I would really love to engage in a hug with you. How does that feel? P.S. That's a really amazing way to ask for something. I would love this from you. How does that feel? So just as a side note, allowing that person to answer authentically with their choice involved. So you receiving that, you could say something like, first part of the sandwich, connection. Thank you so much for having the courage to ask me for what you're wanting from me. Second part of the sandwich, your real answer. I'm not feeling available for a hug right now. And third part of the connection sandwich, if it's available to you, this is also known as a counter offer or just offering another way of connecting. How would you feel about talking about dogs instead? So, or it could look something like, I may be available in an hour, try me in an hour. So that's just a format that people can use as a way to kind of soften saying no to somebody. Again, it's not necessary. It's just if one has the capacity and ability and wants to honor connection in general, with understanding that often when people are asking for something, they're just desiring some form of connection, then that can create more ease all around. And that also offers that person a form of connection with you as opposed to no, which is great and sometimes is very necessary.
Mhm.
And it's really important that we're supported in just saying no and we don't need to say anything else. However, it can be that's my example of consent as love. So it's like, how do we go about these ways that are still super honoring our true yes and no, and also how can we do that in a way that's most loving to ourselves and other people? So
Yeah, I
yeah.
see that as a softening. I see it as, instead of putting up a barricade like F you, how dare you even try to, invade my space. It's recognizing the sacredness and beauty of that other person and just holding the transition, or holding your no in your truth, holding your truth with compassion and love. And when you
Mhm.
do that, you're able to say that, gosh, I really appreciate that you want to connect like that. And you know what, right now is just, it's not going to work for me, but it might in the future. So please, I want to encourage you to try again some other time. Today's just not the right day for me. Believe me, or whatever, But it's, just like, just your strength in a loving way. But you know what? We get caught off guard.
Mhm.
We get caught off guard. Our reptilian brain reacts, and so it takes practice. It takes practice to take a breath and say, oh my gosh, thanks, but right now it doesn't work for me. And, you know,
Yeah.
you
And that's why I teach what I teach, so we can
yeah,
practice that.
yeah, lots. And we have opportunities every day. Thank you for giving that specific example. I think that really helps.
Yeah.
The other key that we wanted to talk about was your cutting edge work. I really think this is super powerful, of using song and literally activating our voice box
Mhm.
to speak, because our colloquial language is all ridden with disempowerment and barricades, really putting people on the defensive. So our next one would really be how to use sound and sound healing to
Yeah.
awaken a confident and loving,
Mhm.
consensual, love is consent voice. So can you give us some examples to describe that, Cyrena?
Yeah, yeah. So I host what I call empowerment song circles, community empowerment song circles, and women's empowerment song circles. And I also do voice empowerment coaching with people, with the understanding and knowing, as a singer and being connected to my own voice and learning how opening my voice through song impacts my ability to speak in my life. It's just another form that I would argue is even more connected to kind of other guidance and potential ancient
Mm.
wisdom. So it's once we open up and allow ourselves to sing, to sound whatever wants to come out, that allows us to have more capacity to be authentic in our communication when navigating human relations. So that can look like so many ways, and I'd encourage whoever is viewing just to take time and space every day to just allow yourself to sound whatever sound wants to come out of your body. And there's so many varying ways to do this. And also in my song circles, I'm really bridging consent culture with the song by singing about what it looks like to be in consent culture, or really what it looks like to be in what I would argue as real love, or a culture that honors choice and care for the self and another. And what opening the voice through song also allows is for people to really connect to their own bodies and their own voice in a different way, and maybe even potentially a safer way. I want to acknowledge that sharing our voice through sound and song can also be very vulnerable, and it can also be another access point for us to come more fully into our voices. So I'd encourage anyone to just sound and allow space and love for what comes out. And I've been participating in and leading a bunch of song based empowerment offerings. And something I've come to recently is just if there's any kind of intention or something you want to cultivate in your life, literally just singing a sound based song, not even with words, singing to that intention or whatever you want to create, and seeing that potential magic unfold in that way. You could even sing to your own voice if you're wanting to empower your voice more, just singing a song to your voice to help your voice open. And the last piece in that is when we do the song circles, another way to really embody and embrace an intention or this culture is to sing words about it. And so, for example, I have a song called Courage, and it's all about having the courage to speak. And it's a repetitive song. So, when we sing it over and over again, those words are integrating more and more into your body while you're singing, activating your voice. And what I found is that that is just so impactful and powerful. So, those are some ways. And lastly, even like doing a sound healing with the intention of empowerment and being with the body and allowing the body to be in that energy of embodiment through the access point of a sound journey. And that I think will nicely run into the next topic that we're going to
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah. Well, I think it's really powerful and important because the throat chakra is, is our voice and having a voice. And women, when you think about it, it wasn't even 100 years ago that women didn't have the right to vote. We didn't have a voice in our society. So we are actually holding the DNA of, and some people got killed if they had a voice. Right? I mean,
Right.
that still can even happen today. So there's a lot of DNA spheres stuck in our throat. But when we open the throat chakra, it really is about our will aligning with divine will. On a yogic level, that's actually what that's all about. And what I find interesting too, Cyrena, is that when we were developing as embryo, the voice box and the genitals were developed at the same time. They are intimately
Wow.
connected. So when we awaken our voice with these exercises, we're literally activating muscles, creating a higher vibration and releasing old cellular memory. We're actually doing sexual healing as well. So I find that very fascinating and interesting.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that. All right, so the third thing that we wanted to talk about, the third key to creating healthy boundaries and love as consent is having a deeper relationship with ourselves. So did you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, in my work, it's really a mindfulness practice, and it starts all with the relationship with ourselves. So the more that we know ourselves and understand what we like and don't like, understand our own preferences, understand our own boundaries even with ourselves, the more we can come at the world knowing what we like and don't like, and therefore being able to ask for it more from others. And then we also have more awareness on how to care for others because we have that deep relationship with ourselves and we've done that self work. So, this relates to the first step of my consent in the 4 C's, which we'll tag somewhere in this related to this video. And the first step is connection and connection to the self. So, what I really encourage people to do is in any kind of interaction with others, an example could be touch. Just take some time to touch yourself and notice what kind of touch you like and what kind of touch you don't like. So then you have that knowing and awareness on how you like to be touched, and you can ask for that from another person. Similar with anything, just knowing what kind of foods you like, or just really taking the time and space to get to know yourself. And that's why any kind of meditation practice, a lot of my work is all about what I call tracking. So we're doing exercises, and I'm constantly bringing people back to their body, back to their sensations, and seeing what's alive in their body, seeing what comes up, really breaking this down so people can have that deep relationship with themselves And again, it starts with, how do I care for and love myself? What do I like and don't like? How do I put myself in situations where I am more likely to receive things that feel good to me, as opposed to, am I pushing myself to do things that actually don't feel good for me? So having that inner relationship of like, when am I listening to myself? When am I pushing my own boundaries? So that then when we come to other people, we can have that relationship knowing of ourselves, and then understand more how we might want to receive or interact with another person.
That's beautiful,
So,
honey.
yeah.
I love it. Well, we live in a society where we're constantly reaching out instead of reaching in. You know, that's our go-to. We're people pleasers. We want to have everyone, keep everyone else happy. And I love the idea of this tracking, of really kind of developing. It's a skill to actually go inward and go, let me see, how do I feel about that? You know, we have to cultivate that skill. So I love that you use the word tracking. Can you talk a little bit more about tracking before we conclude?
Yeah. So for example, and all what I love to offer people is just the concept of slowing down. So in general, I feel like we live in a really fast-paced
Hmm.
society, like just trying to get things done. And I feel like that doesn't fully honor our experience and what might be coming up for us. So just think the encouragement and offer to slow down in general. So when you're having a conversation with someone, just noticing throughout that conversation how your body is feeling and what sensations in your body are arising where. And then if you can take that even further to understand, what do those sensations mean to you and what needs might be associated with those sensations. So then when you identify those needs, you can understand, okay, what requests do I need to make to meet those needs? Or how do I need to take care of myself in this moment to meet those needs? So you can do this while having a conversation with someone, just constantly be aware of how your body is feeling. And a way to even slow that down more is just to ask for a pause in a conversation. If you're noticing you're feeling full, maybe you're feeling anxious and you're noticing your body's retracting, just asking for a pause for a moment, something like, hey, I'm really loving what you're saying. I'm feeling a little full. Do you mind if we pause for a moment so I can check in with my body and understand what I might be needing from this point on? So,
This is exactly why I love the work that you're doing. These words are so powerful, because sometimes you get people that talk your head off and you just feel like an avalanche is coming at you, you know? So what I'd like to invite our listeners to do just in this moment, because as you were talking about that, I was like, oh my God, okay, so now how do I feel in my body? So I want to encourage everyone in this moment, if you don't mind, Cyrena, just taking a moment for us just to take a breath, like,
yeah.
and just feel into your body and just like, okay, how am I receiving all of this? How am I feeling in this moment? What's going on with me right now? Just take a moment to, you can keep your eyes closed, you can close your eyes, whatever works for you, but just feel into you. And when you do, there's so much aliveness that can be present, you know, or other stuff too. And it's important to know that it's there.
And the key to this too, that I'd like to offer people, is to really be in love and support with whatever is alive in you, and to not have to change whatever it is. More in relationship to the concept of tracking, just recognizing what's there without having to judge it. And then and then realizing in the recognition, what are the needs, and what how can I meet my needs, and how can I use my voice to meet my needs, or how can I meet my needs myself right now in this moment. Yeah.
So beautiful. Yeah, because negative feelings and positive feelings they're all welcome, and they're all very real. Yeah, and we
The
don't
more we
want.
can Yeah, the more we can accept and love ourselves in our full spectrum process, the
Hmm.
more capacity we'll be able to be with others in their full spectrum process
That's
too.
beautiful.
So that's, again, it's all stems from our self relationship, and then that allows us more space to be with others from a place of love. And Anathi, I just want to mention that I just made a video on touch,
Mm.
so I'd love to just share that here and encourage your viewers to watch out for that video.
Okay,
It
yeah,
will be
I
like,
can put it in the
yeah,
link. I can put it in the link for sure.
cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So to review, the 3 keys to setting healthy boundaries, number 1 is learning how to say your truth, your true yes, your true no in a more loving way. The second one is literally opening up your voice box, start singing and doing sound healing. And the third one is creating a deeper, more loving connection with yourself. Cyrena, I'm
Yes.
so excited that you came here and we were able to have this opportunity to talk about this. I'll make sure that your link is there and that touch video also. We can include it in the blog.
Cool.
And is there anything else that you would like to say to our listeners before we conclude?
I am in the process of trying to get all of my work online, and I also do voice empowerment coaching online. So if anyone's interested in that, I love working with people and really slowing down and finding their full yeses and nos and really empowering their voice through song and communication. So
It's
if that's
awesome.
interesting,
Awesome
yeah.
work. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. I love what you're doing, and I feel honored to be able to have you inside my blog. So,
Yay, thank you so much for having me. And I really love your work too, Anathea. I love your communication work and what I've gotten to hear from you too. So
awesome, sweetie. All right, we hopefully we'll do more in the future. So everybody stay tuned. And thank you,
yeah,
Cyrena. Take care. Namaste.
okay.